Adab, Salam, Namaskar. Welcome to New India Education Trust Beyond Classroom Motivation web series. Dear friends, we have a new series now, My Experiment with Teaching. And today is the 7th episode of this series. Today I'll be talking about my first-hand experience of teaching of English. When I started teaching of English at Sainik School, Chittor. In previous episodes, I told you that I was given class 8C as the class teacher. And of course, I had class 6, class 7, and I think one section of class 9. The approach towards teaching of English was very different here in this school. It was an English medium school. English was the first language, and naturally, everybody was supposed to speak English. Now, the teaching, the technique, the methodology, or the approach towards the teaching of English that was being followed in the school was the structural approach. I still remember the books that were used. The books were Deepak readers up to class 8, 6, 7, 8. Of course, from 9th class, it has to be CBSE, NCERT books, but up to 8th class, the schools were allowed. Even today, also schools can use any book, any publisher, but from 9th class, only the prescribed books are to be used. So 6th, 7th, and 8th class, in Sainik School at that time, we were using Deepak readers. And these were the publications of Oxford University Press by Mr. J.F. Forrester. Excellent books, I must tell you. These were excellent books. And these books were based on a structural approach. I don't know how many of you are aware of this structural approach. Let me tell you what is the structural approach. The structural approach is based on the assumption that language teaching can best be done through systematic selection and grading of structures or sentence patterns. In easy word, we can say that this structural approach to the teaching of English is a technique by which students are taught to master the pattern of sentences. I was very lucky that when I was doing my B.Ed program, B.Ed course at Aligarh Muslim University, one of my teaching subject was English, and in the syllabus they had included this structural approach. So I had an idea of this structural approach. I was also lucky because my brother, Dr. Tanveer Ahmed, who was doing PhD at AMU, he had gifted me a book, and that book was also based on structures, or you can say in easy way, you can say sentence patterns. In any language, there are some sentence patterns, some structures. If I say that in English there may be around 350 or 400 structures or patterns, whatever it is. If we master these patterns, we will be able to speak English, we will be able to write English, we will be able to understand English. Of course, here the speaking comes first. Not only in English, in any language, speaking comes first. Even mother tongue, so that my mother tongue is Hindi or my mother tongue is Urdu. There also we speak that language first. First, speaking starts, then the other skills come. Now here, these books, the Deepak readers, they were wonderful books. They were based on this structural approach. And class 8, it was, I think, Deepak readers book 4. And the first lesson in that was Abu Hassan. It was in 3 parts, part 1, part 2, part 3. And at the, in that lesson, it was also given which patterns of sentences are going to be practiced in that lesson. So here it was structured 194 to 198. Then there was a lesson of notices, how there we were practicing how notices are being written. Structure 203 to 206, Mr. Self-Help and Mr. Have It Done. Structure or pattern 208 to 210. Then the Raggle Taggle Gypsies 227 to 230. And The Golden Touch. That was also in 3 parts, 237 to 244. Now, only thing what I had to prepare as a teacher of English before going to the class, I myself had to practice those sentence patterns. I had to do a lot of drill myself, be ready. Not only what is given in the textbook, in the chapter, I had to practice more and more sentences on those patterns. Now, for example, there is one pattern. This is a table. This is the table. This is computer. This is a mobile phone. Now, this is one pattern of sentence. On this pattern, we can print so many sentences. We just have to change words. Pattern will remain the same, but we can print many sentences. Basically, this approach was based on that, and we had to do a lot of drill. So, I started my teaching, went to my class, 8C. There used to be between 25 to 30 students, not more than 30, times only 25 students in a class. And it was, of course, very good class. Though I was told that this was a very naughty class. But I believe as a teacher that all children have to be naughty. If they are not naughty, then that means that they are not normal. This is what I believe as a teacher. Because children have to be naughty, not the teachers. So that is fine with me. I started teaching. I went to the class and I was welcomed by the class. There was a boy I still remember. He was very tall boy. I remember that boy because he was very tall. And I still remember his name, Inder Raj Singh. He was a basketball player, very tall. And later on, I came to know that in his family, all are basketball players. Children were well built in Sainik School. They came from Rajasthan, from the rural areas, and their physique was really very good. The class was wonderful. I faced no problem. Just maybe initial, I had to introduce myself. I had to prove that I would be taking care of them. All that, initially, what happens with a new teacher in the class. That might have happened with me also. There's nothing wrong in that. But I am sure that within 2-3 days, it was fine. I was accepted by the children, and I started, my routine of teaching. Rather, I must say, I started enjoying teaching. I had to do a lot. I had to drill a lot. And in the classroom, the children, they felt the difference. That yes, I meant business. I was very serious about my work. That was, this structural approach is really wonderful because, the children, they would be able to speak, or they were able to speak, very fast, very fast. There was another thing which I must tell you here about the Sainik School, that the children, they came from rural areas. Most of the children came from villages. And they came from Hindi medium background. They were given admission in class 6 on the basis of an entrance test. And in class 6, when they came, initially for a few days, weeks, and months, all the teachers, they used to teach them English in one way or the other. For example, the science teacher, he would prepare a long list of vocabulary, long list of words that are used in science in his chapters, in his books. The mathematics teacher also would prepare a list of those words. Same way, social studies teacher would prepare a list of words, and those words, the English teachers, the social science teacher, the science teacher, the mathematics teacher, we would go and we would talk about those words, we would write, we would learn. All that was done. And gradually, within a month or so, those children, they knew those words. So it became easy for them to follow. That is what I had observed. So that is how I started teaching of English at Sainik School at Chittorgarh. That was a wonderful experience. And of course, my seniors, the head of the department at that time, Mr. Ramesh Chandra Vadhera, and the next senior teacher was Mr. Jagat Narayan Bhargav. They helped us a lot. It was a team. And if we had any problem in any part of the chapter, grammar, or anything, we would go to the seniors and they would help us. So that was really very nice that it was one team that was working to achieve one goal, and that was to prepare these children for National Defense Academy and for, of course, for the board exam of 10th class and 12th class. Young friends, in my next episode, I'll talk about one colleague who was not in English department, but he used to teach us English. I mean, us teachers also. He was from social science department. And in my next episode, I'll talk about him, how he was helping us in building our vocabulary. Till then, wait. In episode number 8, I'll talk about that gentleman who was my senior. Thank you. Shukriya. Dhanyavad. Have a great time.